Greetings from the second age of reason. Just a few things today. One of which is that I had heard, now this may not be for real, it may have just been some rumors about our Governor Walker here in Wisconsin, that he was proposing to do away with state income tax. That's to make the state look more friendly, more tax friendly to the rest of the country. So imagine you would come here and you would not have a state income tax withdrawn from your paycheck. And then you don't have to fill out a state income tax return at the end of every tax year. And that sounds good on the surface, but I thought about it a little bit, and what would he replace that tax with? He would replace that tax, I heard, by raising the sales tax. Right now it's 6%. He was said to be considering 17%. And when you think about how people spend their money, it comes to mind that most all of us in the lower 90% spend nearly all our income on living. We spend it on food, shelter, clothing, medicine, repairs, maintenance, memberships, all kinds of things like that. We buy stuff at the stores. And on every single item you buy, except for like groceries, there is a state sales tax. And at the end of the year, there is no sales tax reconciliation thing where you go back and say, well, I was more of this sort of a expenditure, so can I have a refund in my state sales tax? Never happens. There is a state sales tax for things you buy out of state. They call it a use tax. They want to get you everywhere they can what stuff you buy. However, for the people that are very rich, the upper 10% or upper 1%, they don't spend all their income. So without an income tax, they wouldn't pay any of that, and their living expenses are no more than yours or mine. They don't eat any more food than we do. They might wear a little better clothes, drive a little fancier car, but by and large, they don't spend all of their money. So in that sense, the tax is more punitive against the poor who have to buy everything and pay the sales tax, whereas the rich people don't spend all their money, so they don't pay as much sales tax. And if they do spend the money, they might spend it in a place that doesn't have a sales tax. So you see, it's not exactly a fair taxation suggestion. I don't think he's going to really go forward with it, if that really was the case. But you should know that your governors, and maybe your local politicians, and the federal government might be considering this, because if you don't have to do the yearly income tax returns, you might save some money in the government by not having to have all that accounting and reconciliation. It's all done at the point of sale. And you know they're never ever going to have a sales tax return they have to fill out at the end of the year. So in that sense, the business process is simpler, has less cost, but when you think about who it affects, it's very punitive against the poor and lower classes. So that's your tidbit for now. What is it like in your state? You can rate, you can comment below about what your state is considering for its taxation. I know in Wisconsin, they also have a thing called property tax. So you pay annual taxes based on the assessment of the land you live on and what your house is. They come by and they'll say, oh, you have a house. You have so much land. And sometimes they look inside your house and say, well, you have so many bedrooms. And based on that, they say your house is worth this. And then you pay an annual property tax, which is supposed to cover keeping the streets cleaned, snow removal, garbage collection, police and fire. Covers a lot of that stuff. And maybe also public schools. But I know when I retire, I will not be able to afford the property tax of my neighborhood. So at some point, I'm going to have to move to a place that has much less property tax. In which case, if it's a sales tax or an income tax, it depends. If it's an income tax, oh great, I might not make so much income. If it's a sales tax, I'll have to reconsider what my expenditures are. If it's a property tax, right now I know I'm priced out of my neighborhood at retirement time, so at that point we'll have to move. So I'm not sure what it is like in your states, in your cities, but if you want to post comments below and tell me what the situation is, feel free to do so. And until later, we'll be seeing you.